Hello, dear compatriots. Today is February 20th. We are starting this broadcast a bit late because we worked until late last night, and therefore we have gathered a lot of information up to now, including some important details that we can talk about. In this broadcast, we begin, according to tradition, with a statement made today by the President of the National Assembly of Armenia, Alen Simonyan. And I especially want to highlight the Turkish part. He said that Yerevan hopes that the negotiations on the opening of the border with Turkey will yield results, talking, again, about the peace crossroads from those programs. And this is happening now. And you also remember yesterday we also discussed that the three Hak had met within the framework of the parliaments of Turkey and Armenia, and it was also discussed there the issue of opening the borders, the issue of normalizing Armenian-Turkish relations. There is also one other important information regarding Armenia, that the ambassador of the Republic of Armenia, Lilit Makunts, visited the Pentagon of the United States of America Ministry of Defense and had various meetings there. She had discussions within the framework of Armenian-American strategic relations, spoke about regional issues in the South Caucasus, peace, as well as he notes that Armenia appreciates the cooperation with the Ministry of Defense and expects that this cooperation will continue. I think this is a very important visit, and it is very important that Lilit Makunts's attention is drawn to that document, that there is a newly signed document between Armenia and the United States of America, which is about strategic relations. And actually Lilit Makunts but who Lilit Makunts has reaffirmed that Armenia is ready to cooperate with the United States Department of Defense, and that this cooperation is extremely important for Armenia. I think this is a very right step. We always talk about this, that now Armenia must implement a very active policy. Naturally, since Lilit Makunts is the ambassador of the Republic of Armenia to the United States of America, the heaviest work is now on her shoulders, and let's hope very much that she will continue to carry out her work with such active honor, because a lot depends on it for our region, for Armenia, and for the Republic. Why not also for peace? Given her active efforts and the work of the Armenian community, which is crucial to be involved in these processes. Now, as we see what is happening around Ukraine, we see the Russian-Ukrainian negotiations. It is extremely important for the Armenian community in the United States to also intensify its activities, especially regarding the South Caucasus, and I'm almost certain that it is crucial for the Armenian community to be able to work effectively with the US authorities so that Armenia can not only maintain its independence and sovereignty, but also strengthen them. It is already clear from here. From here, it will be clear to see how patriotic we are, how much we have the appropriate intellect to not let other things dictate to us from the side, but to be guided by our specific national and state values. In addition to these interests, it is very important here for the Armenian community to understand what it is doing in general, what role it plays in the Armenian-American relationship, and how actively it is involved in that relationship. I repeat, it is extremely important that the Armenian community now works in an active mode, and that the Embassy of the Republic of Armenia, why not also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Armenia, and various other political figures, because I believe this is a very crucial moment for Armenia and the entire region, including Georgia, to refocus on international issues. The tension between Trump and Zelensky, the White House's response to Zelensky's statement was frankly much more offensive and harsh than Zelensky's own statement regarding Donald Trump's remarks. In the American side statement, attention is always drawn to Zelensky's remarks, and here the White House has clearly criticized Zelensky's statement indicating that Trump is disappointed. Zelensky's rhetoric and actions seem to have chosen a provocative tone against the United States and its leadership. By the way, it also says there some kind of expression. Zelensky was insultingly addressed to Trump, which is unacceptable. And there it also says that Zelensky should return to the negotiations, which will allow the United States of America to export rare metals from Ukraine. Remember, Zelensky refused to sign that document because that document did not ensure the security of Ukraine. But the White House says that if Zelensky returns to that document, it best ensures Ukraine's security. Moreover, the statement mentions that this deal will also be very beneficial for Ukraine. Regarding the supply of weapons, the US stockpiles are running low. To be honest, I don't know if such a statement was made from the United States that their arsenal is depleting. If that is indeed the case, it is surprising, but such a statement is also present in the text. There is also a statement in the text, and in the end it is mentioned that Ukraine should appreciate the support of the United States for Ukraine, and in addition, Elon Musk has made a rather harsh statement regarding Zelensky. Elon Musk, and he can be said to be certain that the Ukrainian people hate Vladimir Zelensky. That show of his rating, which their company is conducting, is a lie. It does not correspond to reality. In fact, Zelensky controls all the media, and he says that I challenge Zelensky. If his rating is so high, then let him hold presidential elections in Ukraine. And he continues his thought and says that if the Ukrainian people support him, and so many Ukrainians love him, then let him. He was afraid to hold the presidential election, when at the end Musk also writes that Trump is ignoring Zelensky. He is also trying to strive for peace, although in Ukraine there is an unbearable large corruption machine which feeds on the corpses of Kazyn Ukrainian soldiers. I am sorry that I am presenting such details directly. I want to show what kind of statements are being made by Musk, Trump, and other US officials regarding the president of Ukraine and the war in general, so that we can better understand the specific attitude that the US authorities have towards Vladimir Zelensky and what to expect. Elon Musk made statements regarding the president of Ukraine. What can it lead to? All this can also play a big role. I would also like to add that the Secretary of State of the United States of America, Marco Rubio, also touched on sanctions against Russia. And there is also a hint that at the moment there is no, but if Russia takes clear steps to implement positive steps, then the United States of America can mitigate these sanctions. And the Foreign Minister of Great Britain clearly believes that they have not come any closer to ending this war in any way. The war continues, and the British Foreign Office is clearly making it clear that these negotiations have not yet produced any results at all. That is, there is a clear indication that these are direct negotiations between the United States of America and Russia, and that they can now end this war. In short, he doesn't understand what we have in common. From all these statements, there are also different statements from Macron, quite complicated statements. I don't want to quote all the statements, because now we see contradictory statements from different places, especially from the United States of America. In the United States of America, different contradictory statements are being made, and will continue to be made. We can clearly say one thing. Most likely, the Russian Federation has set one of its most important demands on the United States, which is that presidential elections must take place in Ukraine. The United States, specifically Donald Trump, has not been able to achieve the signing of that document regarding the export of rare metals from Ukraine, and, in addition, he has not been able to ensure that presidential elections are held in Ukraine. In other words, there were statements, and all of this was met with resistance from the Ukrainian side, and therefore it caused quite serious anger from the President of the United States of America, as well as from Musk, JTV, etc., etc. And here we have such statements which clearly reveal the attitude of Musk and Sadov towards Zelensky. What all this can lead to, it is difficult to predict. But one thing is certain, the rating of the president has started to rise very quickly. In Ukraine, I cannot say that Zelensky's rating was really that low. I cannot imagine that 4.5%, of course, was several times higher, but now against this background, Zelensky's rating has started to rise rapidly. And if presidential elections are held in Ukraine now, there are many more chances of re-election than, for example, 2 weeks ago. This was actually dear compatriots, but now I repeat, everything is very confusing. We are forced to quote different statements, but it is not the case that we believe all of those statements. True, if we are talking about personal dislike, personal hatred, etc., we understand that this hatred is unlikely. If it changes, that is, it is unlikely that Trump and the rest will adopt a different position towards Zelensky. I can't say. Again, I can't rule anything out, but that, in my opinion, is unlikely. As for Ukraine, then we have seen and are seeing contradictory statements from the United States, and I believe we will continue to see such contradictory statements, and it would be better for us to focus not on the statements, but rather on the concrete actions of the United States and the European Union. However, since we are within the framework of our political Crossroads program, we mainly address those statements. The statements of political figures make our broadcast seem meaningless and empty. We are also forced to mainly talk about those statements, but let me reiterate one thing to make it clearer. If, say, 1, 2, or 3 months ago those statements outlined a specific policy, now these contradictory statements are causing quite a bit of confusion for us. Because it's hard to analyze and understand what's really happening, because, in my opinion, they still haven't made a final decision on whether Elon Musk and Trump will be together or not. What do they want regarding Ukraine, and how are they going to settle the Russian-Ukrainian war so that it ends ahoy in these places? The answer, dear compatriots, I urge you again to be sure to like if you are not subscribed, but you follow our channel, be sure to subscribe and also leave your opinion in the comments, how you see it. I would ask everyone to avoid offensive statements regarding all those announcements. I see that there are still some offensive remarks directed at Trump, Musk, or others. Any offensive comments directed at anyone, regardless of their position, are unacceptable on our channel. I kindly ask you to maintain decorum. Just share your opinion on when all of this will end and what it means. For now, that's all. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye, and we will meet again.